I would like to acknowledge and pay respect to the Palawa Pakana people as the traditional and original owners of Lutruwita and continuing custodians of this land on which we gather. I also acknowledge and pay respects to the Tasmanian Aboriginal elders past and present. Good evening, everybody. My name is Alison Jarman. I'm proudly the Devonport Mayor, and I'm extremely proud to welcome you to the Perinatal Centre. And may I just point out, this is our largest dinner to be had in the function centre since we opened. So round of applause. It's amazing. I'm so proud. We have amazing staff that do a very hard job in making sure that this is a very smoothly run event. And I just want to say, have the best night. Now, we will have slides going on during the evening to show all our wonderful sponsors that have helped put together the two-day event that we've had at the Devonport Recreation Centre, as well as tonight. Without our marvellous sponsors, we could not even begin to start to have such an amazing event for our young ladies of this community and of this state. So thank you. I will just say, I hope that most of you knew about our two-day trade expo that was all about the opportunities, the amazing opportunities for our wonderful students. And we had all different organisations, industries, trade, available for our young ladies to see what wonderful opportunities were available to them for their future. And I know I spoke to most of them, and I think they got a lot out of the 2 days. And I know that we have quite a few schools attending here tonight, and I thank them for attending because it's so important for them to understand this is their night. This is to celebrate our young ladies, our young people of the community, and how we want to encourage them and get them to understand more about the world's their oyster and anything's possible. I'm living proof of that. I went to school here, primary school and high school and Don College. When I left Don College, I had no clue what I really wanted to do with my life, but I was lucky because I had amazing people around me, incredible mentors, incredible friends, incredible family, and I was able to just make my way in my life for all the different things that I've done. And if you'd asked me back in the day as a grade 9 at Reese High, would I ever be Mayor of Devonport City? Come on. But I'm very proud to say that I'm extremely humbled by the position and I'm extremely grateful. So thank you. Oh, thanks. Obviously we have some amazing guests here tonight. I would like to acknowledge a few. Minister Madeleine Ogilvie, Anita Dow MP, Janie Fimlay MP, Senator Anne Urquhart, and we certainly have amazing hosts sitting at each table. Please take advantage of your amazing hosts. It's all about mentoring, inspiring and giving a little bit back to our community, to our young people tonight. So please make the most of the people sitting at your table. Each and every one of you are invited here and are here for a reason. You are here to inspire our young people and to help them understand that they have this wonderful community of sisterhood that is there for them each and every step through their journey. And I hope this is just the beginning for them. Now I think we're getting there with everybody seated, so thank you. We are very lucky to have Her Excellency here tonight. I am very privileged to say that she is our first speaker of the night, and I'm very, very grateful to have her here and Professor Chalmers. So if I may, I would like to ask Her Excellency to come to the stage and address our wonderful group here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor, for your welcome and also for hosting us, or for lunch today. We had a lovely day today, thank you. So good evening everyone, and I thank you very much for inviting me to be one of your speakers at this 2023 Fearless Festival. I attended last year and I thought it was a wonderful event, and it's so wonderful to see so many young women here tonight. So I begin by paying my respects to the traditional and original owners of this land, the Palawa people. I acknowledge the contemporary Tasmanian Aboriginal community and recognise their enduring culture and continued connection to land, sea and waters. May I welcome all the young women here from years 10, 11 and 12, and I hope that the events over the past 2 days have inspired you to continue your education and training. Some of you may enter a trade, join the construction industry, defence forces, police or emergency services, or seek other vocational opportunities. Tonight, you will hear about the wide range of options work options from a range of impressive speakers. I hope that each of you can take away some ideas from this Fearless Festival for your own career and future. I thought I would give you 3 questions to think about as you consider your choices of career. First, what if you don't know what you want to do after finishing school? Some of you may already know the work option you want to take. If you are not sure, which is probably quite a few of you, don't worry. You can change your mind and you can change your career. You can always change your degree or job, do another apprenticeship, or even retrain. Your main aim should be to find a job that suits you. And may I emphasise that suits you. In giving this advice, it may surprise many of you that I never had a fixed work path plan. I was not one of those people who knew from a young age that they wanted to be a chef, plumber, firefighter, doctor, engineer or lawyer. I wanted to go to university, but I wasn't sure what career I wanted. Certainly, I had no great desire to be a lawyer at a young age. I did think a little about social work, so I enrolled in an arts degree in my first year at university because it was a generalist course with subjects of politics, history and psychology. And in my second year, I enrolled in a combined arts law degree. And I liked most of my law subjects, and I also enjoyed and was very interested in psychology. So I enrolled in and finished the 5-year combined degree, and I then started honours in psychology. I thought I wanted to be a psychologist at that point, but during my honours course, I decided that psychology was not for me. So I withdrew from that honours course, and the following year I enrolled in the legal practice course, which is a 6-month course and the final practical formal education required to become a lawyer. So I had finally, after 5 years, or 6 years, decided a law path was for me. After completing the legal practice course, I started legal practice with a Hobart law firm. And when I started working in my 20s, a bit like Alison, never in my wildest dreams did I see myself as a partner in a law firm, a courtroom barrister, much less a federal magistrate or judge. And the idea of becoming a governor certainly never entered my imagination. I believe that I have been fortunate to be in the right place at the right time throughout my career. Though I remember and share with you an old saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get. So if you do change your mind after starting a job or a course to do another, you will always take with you what you have learned. In my case, What I learnt in my psychology course stayed with me and was very useful in my legal career in understanding or trying to understand people's behaviour. May I also suggest that you try to be brave and take risks and find the job you want to do. Personally, in 2006, I decided to leave, I took a risk and decided to leave a law partnership of 14 years with a guaranteed income to go to the Tasmanian Independent Bar to work as a barrister. As a barrister, I was self-employed, so my income was dependent on whether solicitors would brief me. That means give me work, representing a client in court or legal opinions. So I wasn't sure how much work I would get from solicitors. However, taking that risk led to a worthwhile and happy time as a barrister, and it led to my later appointments as a federal magistrate and judge. So may I suggest to you all, try to be brave and take risks in your career choices. My second question to think about is, what do you do if you are underconfident? So I expect many of you will be anxious about your futures, and many of you may be underconfident. So may I share with you that from time to time throughout my career, I lack confidence, and I'm sure many of us here share that feeling. So many of us can be motivated by fear of failure rather than any drive for success. And this is often very typical of many girls and women. Research has demonstrated that we're generally less confident than boys and men. Personally, I tried to overcome a lack of confidence by working hard and always preparing well. Hard work and preparing well will increase your confidence and your courage to speak up. So my advice is that if you're underconfident, challenge yourself to speak up and take on harder tasks. Also, try not to fear failure, and if you fear something, try to fight that fear, because the more you fight something you fear, the easier it is to overcome it. Also, try not to fear not being liked. It's impossible for everyone to like you, and so it's okay if somebody doesn't like you. My advice is to be yourself and be proud of who you are. My third question is, what do you do if you fail or have a setback? We all, no doubt, have had setbacks throughout our careers, and you will possibly have setbacks too. Despite setbacks, always keep your head down and continue working hard. And my personal motto is never give up. Always keep your dignity when setbacks occur, and you can learn from them and do better next time. Also, I found it helpful throughout my career not to take myself too seriously. I believe a sense of humour is valuable, and sometimes we can all laugh at ourselves at something we've done. In conclusion, may I emphasise that you try not to worry if you're not sure what you want to do in your job choice or career right now. Mentors can be very useful in helping you think about and decide on your next steps. You may have found that someone here tonight or over the past 2 days has inspired you to follow a specific path, and it's always good to find someone you trust and can talk with. However, always make up your own mind. Stand by your own judgment and decisions. And finally, try to focus on what feels right for you. It is your decision. So I look forward to talking with as many of you as I can tonight, and best wishes to each of you in deciding on your futures. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I have to say that I'm very privileged to have met you now twice, and to say that you are the warmest, most genuine person. I'm so proud that we have you as Governor of our state. please do take her up on what she just suggested. If you have the opportunity to speak with Our Excellency, I would suggest you do so. I want to say, to have you up here today was just such a wonderful thing. I know the girls at Drysdale House really appreciated it, and we're just very lucky to have you here. Thank you very much for being here. This is a most amazing program. So when you get the chance, we've got everybody mentioned in here from our wonderful speakers and our hosts, and it just hopefully, again, lets our students here get inspired by the people that have attended tonight. Just remember, girls, it's not just the people in this magazine, it's also every single amazing woman that is in this room tonight, and I hope you're already getting some amazing things out of it. Again, I will remind you, take advantage of tonight. I know I've already been speaking to two ladies down the back table down there, and I've already tried to inspire one about what that person wants to do in their future and give them a little guidance, and also introduced another young lady to someone else that might help them. So that's what we're doing tonight. It's all about that wonderful sisterhood. And while you're enjoying your main meals there, I'd really like to acknowledge the schools that are here as well. I have a list somewhere. I'm sure I've got a list somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Of the 10 schools that attended the last 2 days, we've included St Brennan Shaw College, Devonport High, Deloraine High, Leyland Christian School, Don College, Woodbridge High, Study Hub West Coast, New Norfolk High and King Island. So some of these schools were able to come over and we were able to accommodate them. So it's just amazing. It wasn't just our local schools. And I know that we've got some schools here tonight, so we'll talk about them later. So I take great pleasure in now introducing Commander Debbie Williams. Commander Williams has the privilege of going to be reading someone else's speech, but I'll let her explain to you the amazing...
What an amazing room. I've been tied up with the Fearless Festival for many years now, and this is the biggest dinner that I've been to. So this is absolutely wonderful to see such a room full of inspiring people and people here to be inspired. So before I start, I'd like to acknowledge Her Excellency, the Honourable Barbara Baker AC, Emeritus Professor Don Chalmers AO, distinguished guests, ladies, gentlemen, and most importantly tonight, our future fearless women. I'm privileged to share with you a message from the Right Honourable Dame Jacinta Ardern, a former politician who served as the 40th Prime Minister of New Zealand. And Jacinta has sent a message for us, and I've been honoured to read it out to you. So Jacinta says, I am so sorry I can't join with you at what sounds like a fabulous event. I especially loved the look of your Try a Trade session. A little known secret of mine, one of my favourite subjects at high school was metalwork. I loved working on the lathe. I loved the smell of the workshop, and I was good at it. But back then, girls didn't train in metalwork, as evidenced by the fact I was the only girl in my class. Some might have said that politics isn't really for girls either, but someone had to say they were wrong before we started to see those moulds broken and expectations change. Some of you will be mould breakers, and some of you will benefit from there being no mould at all. Either way, the byline for your event is right. The future ignores stereotypes. The future is fearless. You just have to start. Michael, on behalf of everyone here, I thank you for your tireless work with the Fearless Festival and for the incredible speakers with us in the room tonight, and also those who have connected with us from afar. On that note, I draw your attention to the screens for a special welcome from Caroline Kennedy, the US Ambassador to Australia.
Hey, fearless friends. Wish I could be with you at the festival, but I just wanted to say that the best thing you can do is to see the world, be yourself, don't be afraid to take risks, ask for help, and help your friends too. You'll have a great time.
Now our next speaker is Hope Wooldridge. Hope is from Mass National, an amazing young lady, and I'm really proud to ask Hope to come up on the stage and address you all. Thank you.
Wow, don't I feel special? Thank you, everyone. So as mentioned, my name is Hope. I work with Maz. I'm actually a qualified career consultant, and I've actually been hosting the Maz booth these last 2 days at the Fearless Festival, and it's been absolutely amazing chatting with you all and, you know, hearing and I suppose overhearing some amazing conversations around your careers and your pathways that you guys are currently exploring. Now, I've had the privilege today to have a chat to you guys about who Maz is, what we're all about, and how we can really help you explore your pathways but also reach your career goals. So, who is Maz? Is a really good question. So, Maz is an organisation whose goal is to support the community and employers in growing. Now that might be helping our employers look at how they can grow their business to employ more people, but also helping individuals, as I said, explore their options and, you know, set goals that they can succeed at. Now we do that in multiple different ways. One of them is obviously through our career services, which I'll be talking to you all about, but also our pre-employment programs, as well as networking events that we hold fairly regularly. One of the main things though that we're known for is actually our apprenticeships and traineeships sector. Services. So those services are there to support our employers and our apprentices throughout the apprenticeship program that they are commencing. We do that in many different ways. We have amazing qualified business consultants, mentors, counsellors to really assist them in, once again, succeeding. Now, my role as a career consultant actually starts way before you get your apprenticeship or your traineeship. I'm there to help and assist anyone, regardless of their age, their gender, their culture, their background, in really, as I said, exploring those options through one-on-one career consultations. I actually had the pleasure, though, early this year to be also given the role of Women in Non-Traditional Trades Mentor for Tasmania, which I've absolutely loved. It's been a fantastic experience, and throughout this past year we've actually supported around 140 girls and women in going into trades and successfully completing throughout their apprenticeships, which has been an absolute pleasure. Now, of course, these trades do include your traditional ones, such as construction and automotive, but it doesn't just stop there. It's all hands-on trades, such as engineering, agriculture, we've got horse training, commercial cookery, and honestly, I could probably stand up here all night and continue listing more and more jobs and roles and trades that are out there. But unfortunately, I don't have that long. But the way that we've been helping girls and women in this space is, of course, through our one-on-one consultations, which we help people through, but also multiple programs that we have been collaborating with other organisations with. One of our recent ones was actually with Tradeswomen Australia. We ran a program here in Launceston and Devonport called Remade for Trades, and that program was there to support women in building networks within local industry, gain hands-on experience. We went through some site tours, which is really exciting, and just really, I suppose, once again, connect them to that industry out there so that they can have the right conversations with the right people to help them reach those goals that they might not have been able to previously. Now, in saying that, there's actually a huge skills needs out there in these trades, which has actually opened up some amazing opportunities out there. And in fact, the government at the moment is really putting a spotlight on supporting women and girls into those non-traditional trades, or what I should say, traditional trades. And our careers team, which I'm a part of, is really passionate about supporting our local community in those aspects. So, what I really want to invite you all to do is feel free to come up and have a chat to me throughout the night. I'm just over there in one of the tables to the corner, and I'd love to have a conversation with you, whether it's tonight or even later down the track. You can also reach us on our website. Just Google masnational.com.au, and you can even register for our services there as well. But thank you so much for listening to me talk. I've been a little bit nervous, but you guys have been amazing. And I really look forward to hopefully assisting some of you in reaching those career goals that you are aspiring towards. Thank you.
Has everyone seen what's sitting on their table? I don't know if you can see. All of you should have one of these on your table. It's a little figurine. Now please bear with me from our wonderful Defence Forces. If I get this incorrect, you can correct me. I'm always willing to say I'm wrong. But I believe it's a female officer. Doesn't matter. In special equipment. Lieutenant General was looking at me going, oh, you kind of got it right. You're awesome. So it's really great, and we really thank the Defence Forces for all they do. Can I just thank every single one of our Defence Force personnel that are in the room, and thank you for your service. Legends. They keep us safe, they get on with the job, and it's even better when they've got women there. So thank you, I mean it from my heart. Now, as you're still partaking in the first main course, I would love to welcome to the stage our next speaker, and that is Simone Haig. Simone is a paramedic professional. Here she comes, rock star. Woo! I'm so pleased that we've got Simone here to speak to you, and I'm really, really happy to see her.
Good evening, everyone. I also would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we meet today, the Palawa people, and pay my respects to their elders past and present, and acknowledge any of the First Nations people in the room this evening. So, a bit like everybody else who's spoken tonight, I may be a paramedic now, but it's not the first degree that I did. I did a degree in exercise physiology. Met a friend in the health science subjects, ended up becoming a paramedic. Anyway, when I started as a paramedic, it was 2005. Back then, paramedicine was very male-dominated, like predominantly males. We were the second intake that was quite a large female cohort. And so what came with that wasn't really a great experience for me. So I'm a little bit different. I've got ADHD. I don't quite fit in around the place. And back then that wasn't well understood. So I got a lot of bullying. And I got a lot of bullying from management and my peers, which sort of came out with my career being stopped. So I was unable to step up into any roles because they just didn't want me. I didn't fit in. I wasn't part of the boys' club. I felt that I wasn't good enough. But because the path at AT closed, I thought, well, I need to go and find something else because I've got all this stuff I want to do, but I can't do it here. So I went and got involved in other organisations. I got involved as a student representative of the Australasian College of Paramedicine chapter, just the state chapter, just a student rep. That was great. During my time there, it's given me lots of opportunities. I've met all these people. It's been fantastic. And through that time here in Tasmania, I was the secretary, the treasurer, the vice chair, and then the chair. From that point, I then got elected to the national board, which I'm still a national director on the college board. Also, I thought, what else can I do to actually help my workplace? Because that ACP, that helps the profession. So I thought, what can I do to help the workplace? So 12 years ago, I became a union delegate. And my goodness, the opportunities that's given me and the education and the understanding of how to advocate for people and how to have really difficult conversations, which is really important throughout your career. So last year, I was elected the president of the Ambulance Executive Sub-Branch for HACSU, which I've had lots of opportunities to do bargaining, sit down with government, sit down with the ambulance service executive. And the most important thing, which I want everyone in here to know, especially the young people in the room, if you're invited to a table, your opinions matter. If you're not invited, they don't care about your opinions, but if someone invites you, your opinions matter. And you need to speak up and give your opinions because that's why they want you there. But coming with that, I did feel like I was out of my depth and got, like a lot of women, this is not unusual, I reckon everyone will nod when I say this, I had really bad imposter syndrome. My self-narrative was like, why am I here? Why do they want to listen to me? And it's really hard. And it's really hard to stop that voice telling you that. So with the different paths that I've ended up going down, I had an opportunity to do something I was really passionate about. In 2018, I got a Senate inquiry into the mental health of first responders. This is a really, for those, thank you. For those people out there, you would be fully aware that paramedics, police, firefighters, SES, surf lifesaving, anyone that first responds are at great mental risk doing their job. And I felt that we were all being ignored. So I approached Senator Anne Urquhart, who unfortunately couldn't get here tonight because she's fogged in Canberra, and spoke to her and said, what can we do to help change this? And she helped me get this inquiry. The inquiry brought down 14 recommendations, which we've recently had the Parliamentary Library of Australia look into what the services have done to implement those recommendations, and not much. So we need to keep advocating for all of that. But during that time, I found things have been really tough. Like particularly during the inquiry, I got quite a hard time from people. Like I even got some death threats and things like that because people were scared of what I was doing. They didn't see the big picture. And I can understand that because it did feel threatening to people with a mental injury. But when you go through those things, these are an opportunity for you to learn and you can grow. Even in the darkest times where you're really disappointed and things are painful, you can use those moments to learn and to grow, and it helps to make you the person you are today. Leadership is hard, and I took a long time to come to grips with the fact that I'm a leader. Like I could not embrace it. I had imposter syndrome, did not think that I was a leader. I thought that I'm not a leader, I just do this to help other people. Apparently that's what leaders do. But I would make excuses and deflect. But I think the most important thing is to know is that everybody in this room is a leader. Every single one of you in your lives, you are a leader. I read a book not long ago by a lady called Abby Wambach. She wrote a book called Wolfpack. Highly recommend you all read it or get the audio book, only goes for about an hour. And she talks about women in leadership. She was a US soccer player, topical at the moment, go Matildas. And her last game, and this is something that absolutely resonated with me, her last game was for the World Cup. And she was, super pumped, I'm going to send my last game, going out on the field. No, they benched her for her last game. And instead of being like, she was disappointed, but then she went away and thought about it. She goes, if I can't lead from the bench, how can I lead from the field? And that is so true. And that's what I've done with my career. I was unable to lead from the field and get a leadership role within Ambulance Tasmania. I can now, but back then I couldn't. But I could lead from the bench. And by doing that and opening up those pathways that I've been able to go and do this stuff with ACP and things like that, I'm not a leader at Ambulance Tasmania. They do see me as a leader. I'm a leader of the profession because of those different opportunities and the different paths that I took. If a path closes down to you, there are other paths you can take. And some of those paths might be a bit overgrown and you're going to have to sort of hack at things a bit. But those opportunities are there. Don't just see missing out on something as missing out forever. No, you're not. It is an opportunity to go and find another way to do something. And most of the time, that's a better way to do something. We also need to remember that as women, we need to support each other. It's not about you getting this job and me getting this job. We all need to uplift each other. In ambulance now, so in the last 20 years in ambulance, it is now over 50% women on the front line. Management, nationwide, is 10% women. We have an opportunity now for our future to uplift and support women into those roles, to be leaders, to really drive the ambulance service forward. With this leadership, you need to know that it's people who give you strength. They give you support, they give you guidance, and you don't just learn from your mistakes and your disappointments. You learn from others. Embrace everybody. Have mentors, the people above you, below you, next to you. You can learn from everyone. You don't just have to look up to someone. Anybody can teach you. There's always lessons to learn. Plus, it's part of being human. The path is rocky at times, but we always must seek to find those different paths, open up those new opportunities, and things will be there that you've never considered. Your future is not predetermined. Just because now you're thinking, oh, I need my ATAR and I need this to get into uni, doesn't matter if you miss out. You can go and work for a couple of years or go and do a trade, and you can always go back. People are always going back and changing their careers and doing the things that they thought they wanted to do, or they start and they go, oh no, this isn't really for me. Don't be scared of change, embrace the change. Finally, I just want to say, to be a great leader, you need to be able to lead your harshest critic. Your harshest critic is yourself. Thank you.
How awesome was that? Thank you so much, Simone. That was marvellous. Now, we thanked our Defence Forces, and I know Simone mentioned it, but let's thank all our amazing first responders. SES, police, fire services, ambulance and paramedics. I always say, perhaps there's a terrible weather event. We're all hunkered down inside, feeling a little bit safe and a little bit scared and a bit nervous. And who's out in the weather? All those guys. They're amazing. They turn up when we don't want to be there. They're absolutely incredible, so thank you. If I can mention, I really want to acknowledge just a couple of people. I wouldn't be here without two amazing ladies who are no longer with us, who aren't in the room. Maybe they're up there, I don't know. One is Dame Enid Lyons, an incredible woman. Now, yes, thank you. What a rock star she was back in the day. Now, for the younger people in the room that don't know who Dame Enid Lyons is, shame on you, but ask, find out. Dame Enid was our first female politician with one other lady at the time in Canberra. Her husband, before he passed away, was our only Tasmanian Prime Minister, Joseph Lyons. And Dame Enid had 11 children. I think he visited 11 times from Canberra. And she stayed here in Devonport, ran the family home, looked after the children, and was the backbone of Joseph's political career. We have no doubt about that. We have an amazing museum here at Home Hill in Devonport. if you ever get a chance, and incredible woman. She was a patron at Reese High when I was a young girl, and I've never forgotten her. She was an amazing, feisty, incredible woman. So we're very, very lucky to have had her leading the way for us in the political field. And another lady I want to mention too was a previous mayor, Mary Binks. Again, if you don't know who that lady was, we've now named a Parklands after her in East Devonport. She was so amazing as a mayor that when she retired, instead of just doing morning teas and afternoon teas and spending time with her husband, no, she started Granny's Van because she was worried about feeding people that were struggling. She didn't have to do that, but she did. Yes, please. We started it with a business community, which I was lucky to be part of, and Mary was an incredible mentor for me, and I know she also mentored another lady that's in the room, and I'd love to acknowledge our previous Mayor, Annette Rockcliffe. Annette, thank you very much. It's your fault I'm Mayor. Mary decided to retire gracefully last year, so thank you, Annette, and it has been an incredible mentor for me too, so I'm really pleased she's here tonight. And I'm really proud to say very quickly with the Go Girls, we have 5 mayors and 6 deputy mayor female leaders in the North West Coast in council. Go Girls! And tonight, I'm very proud to say we have Mayor Cheryl Fuller from Central Coast over here, and Deputy Mayor at Latrobe, Vonette Mead, is in the room too. Vonette, I'm not sure where Vonette is. There she is, hello. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm just really proud of how the girls are really looking after themselves too. They're doing a really great job, and we're just showing the other councillors and mayors and deputy mayors how it's done. So I'm really proud. Thank you. Now it gives me huge pleasure to invite another rock star, Tasmanian Young Farmer of the Year, Caitlin Radford. Woo!
Good evening, everybody. I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. I would also like to pay my respect to elders past and present. My name is Caitlin Radford, and I'm a 24-year-old 5th-generation farmer from Moriarty, which is about 10 minutes east of here. I have grown up on the land, and it is a life that I have lived. I was always valuable to my dad once I could open some gates on the farm. And I think that that was the day that I was then employed into the family business. I grew up going to Moriarty Primary School, then to Wesleyvale Primary School, and then I completed grades 7 to 12 at St Brendan Shaw College up here in Devonport. I absolutely love school, but I also love the opportunities that were outside of school and that were yet to come. I have also heavily been passionate about horses my entire life. My mum used to say that I could run up and down the supermarket aisles cantering like a horse before I could walk. No idea where the horsey gene actually came from, other than a great-great-great-great-aunt that was the first woman to ride astride at the Royal Sydney Show, which meant having a leg either side of the saddle, for those that don't know. After I completed Year 12, I was still a little unsure of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. So I headed off to the mainland for a little while and completed a Diploma of Equitation Science, which is horse science. I had a great time in doing this and had the opportunity to meet other young girls from around the country and from overseas as well who had the same passion for horses that I did. Also during school, I was unwell for a little while. So I have rheumatoid arthritis as well as a few other things, and I'm sure there is probably not one person in this room that doesn't struggle with some sort of illness or something to hold them back. This wasn't something that I thought would really inhabit my life and really change my life in a bad direction, but it instead led to many opportunities for myself. I had the opportunity to be graded as a para-athlete, and through this I had the opportunity to represent Australia in the UK in 2015, where I helped to qualify Australia for the Rio Paralympics. This achievement was really great, And thanks to modern medicine, my arthritis is a lot better now and has led to me no longer being graded as a para-athlete. But during that time, I had the opportunity to compete with a lot of inspirational women, women who were blind, or women with no legs, or women with multiple diseases that really, really gave me motivation to continue on and to keep having a crack. After coming back after my equitation science, Mum and Dad thought that I should be employed on the family farm officially. So I completed a Certificate 3 in Agriculture as a part-time apprentice under my parents. Now, my pop didn't decide to retire until he was 86, and this is something that's quite historic and traditional in farming, and a lot of the old folk love to stay on the farm as much as possible, and you can't blame them when it's such an awesome place to be. I then had the opportunity to go share farming with my grandparents, and being the first female farmer in my family, this was a great achievement. As when my nan and pop got married, my pop told my nan that her job was inside the garden gates and his job was out on the land. And now we happily boss each other around every day. From there, we now had the opportunity to rent my nan and pop's farm and have then gone on to purchase our own farm last year with my partner Owen. I also have a lot of passions outside the farm and horses, and this is through committee work and volunteering. Rural Youth of Tasmania has played a massive part in my life over the last few years, and also being heavily involved with AgFest. And AgFest is the largest field day that we hold here in Tassie, and we attract about 60,000 people over 3 days. And we're glad to be back to 3 days this year. And the average age of our committee is 23, which is really awesome. Thank you. So why choose agriculture? Agriculture is a good career choice if you're interested in food, fibre, bioenergy, supply chains, agribusiness, and protecting the environment. Agriculture is a much broader industry than just farming. And farming, don't get me wrong, I love it, but I also appreciate everybody else in our industry. We have a job for everybody. It is no longer seen as a dropout job like it was when my father was just a boy. Jobs range from farming to artificial intelligence, data analysis, precision agriculture, engineering, marketing, and so much more. And everybody in this room has a link to agriculture, whether you realise it or not. We fight for food security and to better our environment every day. My goal as a farmer is to leave our land in the same, if not better condition than when we found it, because I hope it will be there for many, many more generations to come. Every day we tackle challenges on our farm. With technology and innovation, these challenges are made easier. We are always learning and finding ways to farm more efficiently. Sustainable farming is more than just a trending hashtag at the moment as well. It is about fighting for the scarcity of our food, water and land and the billions of people on our planet. Technology involves constant research, development and innovation. Australian farmers are some of the most self-sufficient and rely significantly less on government funding compared to other countries around the world, which is something that we are really proud of. Australian farmers are trailblazing to be carbon neutral by 2050. As a farmer, I am proud to play a small part in the world of agriculture, and I hope current and future students and young professionals will find their own passion in the exciting and ever-changing world of agriculture. It is truly an exciting space to be in. Until 1994, a woman could not legally list their status on a form as farmer. You could be a grazier, but not a farmer. And even though I am the first female in my family to write farmer on a form, I am most... Despite this, I am most definitely not the first female farmer, the first female in my family to have played a vital role in the family business on the farm. Building your networks and saying yes to everything you can will do the most for you in life. Experience on committees and boards have not only given me skills to use in our business, but has also opened many opportunities to me in this country and overseas as well. You can like makeup and wear nails and still like to play with sheep or be involved in mechanics. I like to dress up, as you can see tonight, and I'm happy to be wearing pink because I blend into all of the beautiful bags and the decor around the room. But I also am quite happy to be out in the pouring rain at 11 p.m. at night, pulling a set of twins and trying to save a ewe. And I'm happy to be pulling apart a harvester like I was on Tuesday, covered head to toe in grease. It's just who we are, and we can be whoever we want to be. Thank you. Be open to new experiences and ideas, as you may end up in roles that you'd never thought of or have never heard of in the past. There are so many people out there who would love to help you. Sometimes all it takes is a little bit of courage for you to reach out in the first instance. I would like to leave you with this quote quickly before we finish, and I'm sure it will resonate with other industries as well. Most females in agriculture would prefer you stop referring to them as females in agriculture. They are people in agriculture, they are farmers, they are agronomists, and they are data analysts. Thank you.
It gives me huge honour to invite our next guest onto the stage. The marvellous, the one and only, Lieutenant General Natasha Fox. We've lost her. Please, take the stage, it's all yours, my darling woman. And rocking the uniform.
Your Excellency, Members of Parliament, to the organisers and to the incredible women who are here tonight, thank you for the invitation to come and talk to you all. I just want to say congratulations for an incredible event and thank you for putting it on. So I'm here with a number of my colleagues from the Australian Defence Force. Some are here in uniform, some are not. Some of them know I'm about to say, please stand up. I just want you to see them all. Stand up. Excellent. They are here throughout. We're in uniform and we're not because we want to show you all that we are normal and to come and talk to us, please, about our experiences. And I know all of my colleagues here are extremely proud to be part of this event. Now, I just want to say that for those that don't know, I grew up on the west coast of Tasmania. I grew up in Rosebery. So I did from kindergarten to grade 10 in Rosebery, and then I came to Devonport to Don College to do year 11 and 12. My parents are still here in Devonport. My brother and sister went to Nixon Street Primary and to Devonport High. So Devonport is what we in the military call, it's my hometown. So it is great to be home, and I'm so pleased to be here with you tonight. So I joined the Army straight out of Year 12 and I was 17. So I was talking to a whole bunch of young ladies today and they said, I was saying, what do you want to know? And they go, well, why did you join the Army? And I said, oh, okay, I'll figure that one out and tell you. So I think back to that time. I'd actually enrolled to do teaching and law. And at the time, and we had a great bunch of recruiters who had come to Don College and they had said, there's this new institution opened up, it's called the Australian Defence Force Academy, and anyone want to go and have a look? And I said, yeah, sure. I went and had a look and I spent a week there and realised how amazing the young people there were, how amazing the teachers and educators were, and so I thought I might give this a crack, to quote some of our other speakers tonight. And so I did. I joined in 1988, and one of my great friends from that time is also here in the room, who joined at the same time, and I didn't realise she was going to be down here today, and I bumped into her at one of the submarine recruiting stand, and it was like old times. It was a massive big hug, and for people who didn't know we'd known one another for so long, it would have been quite strange. But but when you're in the military, you have friends wherever you go, because there are so many of us, and they're friends for life. You work with the most amazing people, and I was really fortunate, T, to bump into you today. And we sent a few photos off to other friends right around Australia. They were selfies. So now, if you had have said to me when I was 17, you're going to spend 35 years in the army, I would have laughed at you. So I joined and I thought, yeah, I'll do a few years, I might do 10, then I'll get out and then I'll go teaching and do law. 10 years came and went, and I've blinked, and it's now 35 years. So, and if you had have said to me way back then, you will visit and work in our great states and territories of Australia. You will get a degree, you will study, you will serve a number of times in the Middle East. You will see the pyramids, you will go to Jerusalem, you will go to the White House, you will live in Damascus, you will go to Gallipoli, you will talk at the United Nations. I would have said, yeah, sure. I didn't dream of that when I was 17. I didn't dream of that when I was 20, 30, 40. But all of it sort of just happens over time. Now, if you had have said you will do all of this, you'll have 2 wonderful kids, you'll marry an amazing husband and he's in the Navy, I would have said that sounds excellent. And if you had have said to me, you will love your job, you will help people, you will make a difference in communities, you will work with the most amazing people, you'll make those friends for life, and that you will trust those friends in the direst of times, I would have said, I really hope so. And that hope has come true for me, and I'm incredibly fortunate. So when you can laugh, and you can love, and you can make a difference, and you can have hope, you can be fearless. Fearless is not about being without fear. It is about being brave. It is about showing courage, taking small steps. It is about being kind and helping others and doing the right thing. Everyone's journey is really different, and it takes many paths. Everyone has challenges. Everyone is told no at some point, and everyone takes small steps. And this enables the things that we never, ever dream of. So I'm incredibly proud to say that in your Australian Defence Force, and it is your Australian Defence Force, 1 in 5 people are women. 1 in 5. And some of the great ones are in here tonight. And they are all fearless. They are pilots, tank drivers. They drive warships. They lead soldiers, sailors and aviators. They are nurses, drivers. They are riggers. We've got some riggers. They are welders. They are engineers. They are tradespeople, doctors, nurses, communicators, intelligence analysts. They are cyber operators. They are chefs. They are logisticians. They all took small steps to make their journey into the Australian Defence Force. Women in your Australian Defence Force can do all roles, and we do. We have over 250 different roles in your Australian Defence Force where women can find their place. We all have taken small steps. We've all had fear, but we face it. We support each other to be brave, and we are never alone. We have hope, and we cheer on each other's successes. Together, women in the Australian Defence Force are, and continue to be, and always have been, fearless. Everyone here tonight, you should be proud of the women in your Australian Defence Force. Thank you. The women in your Australian Defence Force, they volunteer to join. and that's incredible. So volunteering to join takes courage, and it is one small step. People who volunteer to join the Australian Defence Force share the values of service, courage, respect, integrity and excellence. And all of you should be proud of yourselves. Just showing up here tonight to support other young women is the way it should be. We are paying it forward for everyone else. I'm asked, have I been afraid? You betcha I've been afraid. There have been times in 35 years where I have thought, what on earth am I doing? And then in certain roles, when people have looked at me in extraordinary circumstances, where at some point I've had to step up and make decisions. And sometimes it has been really hard, but if you find what you love, then those hard jobs and those hard times get easier. And I'm incredibly lucky. I really love what I do. Now, I've been asked to tell a few stories, and I'll give you one of the stories that I have from my time. Is when I was in southern Lebanon, and I was on patrol, and in southern Lebanon at the time, the Israeli Defence Force had just pulled out of southern Lebanon, and there was no border, and there was cross-border skirmishes happening with Hezbollah at the time. And I was the patrol commander of a United Nations patrol. We were unarmed. And I had to sit down and negotiate my way through a Hezbollah checkpoint, of which the Israeli checkpoint somewhere in the distance could see, or somewhat in the distance could see us. And I was with another colleague from another country. And we make our way through the Hezbollah checkpoint, and we get up to close to the Israeli checkpoint, and I hear this, and that's me giving you the rifles being cocked, and it's actually on instant, so it's ready to fire, and it's pointing straight at me. And this is that decision-making time, and I'm sitting there, or standing there, and I'm thinking, oh, I could possibly die. That was what was going through my head. And then the Israeli person said to me, what are you doing here? Do you love Hezbollah? And I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to say? And I was the patrol commander, so, you know, everyone has to step up at different times. But my fantastic colleague from another country, in very broken English, said, I love all the peoples of the world. And I just looked at my colleague and I started laughing. And the Israeli soldier just lowered the weapon sufficiently, so I knew that if it went off accidentally, none of us were in danger at that point. But the point of that story isn't about that I was the patrol leader and my colleague said this amazing statement. For me, that represents diversity. And it doesn't matter what you look like, it's how you think that makes a difference. And so women, we think differently and we make different decisions and we make a difference. So diversity saves lives and diversity solves wicked problems, and we need all the diversity in the world that can offer us because there's so many wicked problems. Now, I want to wish you all the very best of luck. Thank you for having me back home. It is really fantastic to be here. Now remember, you can all find your place. And I think back to that 17-year-old girl from Rosebery. One small step helped me find my place, showed me the opportunities, helped me to be fearless and take those opportunities. You can do this too. Thank you.
So the class chefs that we had here was Rosa Swenfagus, Kirsten Bacon, Ainsty Wagner and Liv Pizzarani-Rand. Thank you. All of the rock stars. It's just been wonderful. So we've been able to have these chefs. I've been very proudly part of this wonderful event for the last 5 years, thanks to Mike Wickham and the devil himself. And I know that Kirsten was talking today saying she's been involved for 6 years at least, so I'm sure Ainsty has too. So what we've done is this event has not always obviously been up on the northwest coast. So when it began, it started, was it Hobart, Mike? Sorry? It started in Burnie, then went to Launceston, yes, then went to Hobart, then to Burnie, then to Launceston, then we had COVID, correct? So we had 1 year off with that thing. And then last year again it was in Hobart, and I do believe very successfully they had about 600 odd people as guests for the dinner in Hobart. Amazing. And then very proudly we've brought it to Devonport. And I will obviously have to just bear with me for a moment, give me a little bit of grace, but this wonderful, wonderful building, our Paranabal Function Centre really is the jewel of the crown for this area, and I'm so proud for 4 different terms of councillors to get this up and running through amazing hard work from so many people, from stakeholders to council staff, to consultants, to experts in the field, to the construction companies that were involved. It was monumental. And so many people told us we couldn't do it. And here we are. So look, I just want you to all understand, we couldn't have this here without the fact that we've got this building. We couldn't have these events until we could have this building. We needed then a wonderful hotel to add to the accommodation, so it's just been amazing. So I'm just so proud that we're able to have this, and this again, I will mention again, is our largest dinner event so far. So I'm really, really pleased that you're part of it, because it's the first. So thank you for being here tonight again. The list of our sponsors is so huge, I just can't even begin. I would have you here all night. We can't do anything without them, so please understand, obviously we've mentioned a lot of them in our magazine, and please understand we are grateful. There's over 120 companies, and it just makes it all so worthwhile. The future really is fearless, and any one of us could become mayor or a lieutenant general, a police commander, or make chocolate at Anvers. Very important. Now there's a dilemma. None of this would happen, of course, without the biggest sponsors. So the main ones I will mention tonight is Tas Networks as a gold sponsor, Hutchinson Resources, Futago, Devonport City Council, and of course serious financial support this year from Keystone and the Department for Advanced Manufacturing and Defence Industries and Department of Science and Technology, plus 50+ table sponsors. It gives me huge pleasure to introduce our next guest, if I might. We have the incredible Captain Madeline Habib. She's a humanitarian and activist, and also a ship's captain. And I can't wait to hear her share her story with all of us tonight. Thank you, Madeline.
Thank you very much. Last speaker of the evening. It's big boots to fill. I hope I can do that. Thank you very much for inviting me here tonight. I've been invited a few times, and this year I can finally make it. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we meet on tonight. This land was never ceded, and I offer my respects to leaders past and present. Oh, it's already up there. Look at that. Okay. Do you think I look like a captain? That's a question that I ask to school groups when I go and speak in schools. And the younger grades, they immediately all say, no, you don't have a captain's hat and you don't look like a pirate. And then eventually one of the kids will say, yeah, well, you're not a man. And it's not just kids that say that. It's adults too. I've been standing at the helm on a ship arriving in an Australian port, and the pilots come on board to guide us into their home port. And the pilots introduced himself to every single man on the bridge and ignored me completely, and then looked around and said, right, so who's the captain? So clearly, it's quite clear that we haven't got used to the idea that captains are also women, and women are also captains. Now, I object to being called a female captain, as our farmer here tonight objects to being called a female farmer. We're farmers, we're captains. You don't hear men being referred to as male captains. Being a captain is not gender specific. Gender is only one aspect of our personalities that informs our decision-making processes, and it's only one input into determining our captaining style. So tonight, I'm happy not only to challenge the idea that a captain is a man. Tonight I'd like to show you some of the amazing journeys that life at sea can take you on. And believe me, it's not all white uniforms and epaulets. There are a lot of ways to have a fulfilling life at sea, and not all of them are glamorous. This is me cleaning out a water tank on a Sea Shepherd ship. We were in dry dock, and at that moment I was the only person with a valid confined space entry qualification. So there I was doing the job. I had my very first taste of life at sea at 22, a week of sailing in the Whitsundays with my stepfather, and it was a life changer for me. It was an epiphany. Suddenly I had this blend of physical and mental challenge, coupled with the chance to explore the world, and I was hooked. It wasn't hard to flit from boat to boat, gaining experience and occasionally getting paid and travelling the world. But what I resented was the assumption that because I was young and female, that I must be the cook, as if that was the only role open to me on a boat. Now, I quite like cooking, and I have enormous respect for those who take on the challenge of cooking at sea. But not all young women on boats are cooks, just as not all men are captains. So at 24, I returned to Australia with just enough sea time to get my restricted Master Class 5 licence, the very lowest rung on the captain ladder. And by that afternoon, I was the proud and somewhat terrified captain of Bacchus D, a 50-foot steel yacht who'd had a heyday way back in the 1960s, racing in the Sydney to Hobart yacht race. And believe me, that was a steep learning curve. Now, since that day, I've touched every single rung on the captaining ladder on the Australian Maritime Qualifications. I didn't set out with the intention to get my unlimited master's licence, and I know, like, unlimited master, it sounds like master of the universe or something. But somehow it seemed like some kind of natural progression, and I wasn't driven by the desire to drive the biggest ship in the world. Tankers, cruise ships, container ships, they never interested me. I wanted the adventurous life at sea. I wasn't put off by hard and dirty work, shared cabins, low or no pay. I was in it for the places I could go and the causes I could work for. I sailed on square riggers. I've just worked out I can see the reflection, so I don't need to turn around. This beauty is Sea Cloud, and I spent a year on board this ship learning the traditional arts of maintaining a huge and old vessel. 65 crew, 21 crew on deck. I was a deckhand on a prawn trawler in the Gulf of Carpentaria. I plied inter-island trade in the Pacific. I learned to speak to cockatoos. But my dream was to work for Greenpeace. For me, that would unite two things that I really cared about: protecting the environment and life at sea. And before I turned 30, I got my first contract with Greenpeace, sailing on the Rainbow Warrior to Mururoa Atoll to protest French nuclear testing. And believe me, that was a really exciting moment to be at the helm of the Rainbow Warrior sailing across the Pacific. My very first Greenpeace action was being launched in a small inflatable boat in the middle of the ocean. The nearest land was 20 nautical miles away, and that was a nuclear test site. French warships were circling around us as we sped across the ocean in the middle of the night. My crew member in my inflatable was a famous young French violinist who was passionately opposed to nuclear testing and violently seasick. And at first light, I could see just this tiny little break in the reef. It wasn't the main channel where the patrol boats were watching, but just a small entrance into the lagoon. And I gunned the engine, and soon we were speeding across the glassy water, and I just have this really great memory of the dawn colours reflected in those beautiful paradise waters, choppers circling around, patrol boats going everywhere. And I thought to myself, oh yeah, this is the job for me. So we dodged the choppers and we dodged the patrol boats and jumped up onto the drill rig and scampered up into the superstructure. And it took a pack of French Foreign Legion and several hours to get me down. I was an activist. That's not actually from that action, but I did spend a lot of time doing things like that in my 30s, so yes. There was no stopping me. Of course, then I dreamed about being the captain of a Greenpeace ship. And eventually, that came true. From 2007 to 2010, I was captain of Esperanza, Greenpeace's largest ship. It's a strange picture. She looks a little bit like a bathtub toy in that picture, but I like it. And I led campaigns about overfishing for tuna in the Pacific, against drilling for oil in the Arctic, and raising awareness about cutting down rainforest and planting oil palms in Southeast Asia. And during my Greenpeace years, I gained more and more qualifications, and I developed another dream, to sail to Antarctica. I had a postcard of this ship, Aurora Australis, above my bed while I was studying at the Australian Maritime College just down the road in Launceston. And pretty soon I was on that famous red ship and sailing south. I'd just like to point out I wasn't the captain, but I have been the deck officer on board that ship many times. And driving an icebreaker is a really fabulous experience because it's the only time at sea where you actually drive your ship into something solid and smash it up, and it's incredibly satisfying. And Hobart and Tasmania is such an important Antarctic gateway. It's a fabulous opportunity for Tasmanians to live and work in the Great White South. But while I was down there, I was thinking, what about being captain of a sailing ship in the South Pacific? Trading between tiny islands where they only see a ship once or twice a year. There I am, the captain on toilet cleaning duty. I'm a very egalitarian captain. Everybody on that little ship had toilet cleaning duty. And the other one doing cargo operations, doing everything manually by hand. You can see some people might be horrified at the lack of personal protective equipment. My head was protected with nothing more than just a very beautiful floral lei. But in recent years, I've also done more land-based maritime operations, working for the United Nations World Food Programme. And in this instance, it was in Haiti last year. The capital of Haiti, Port-au-Prince, is under siege by armed gangs, which means it's entirely cut off from the rest of the country. I chartered a ro-ro ship, a ship that trucks can roll on and roll off, and we loaded trucks full of humanitarian food and aid to bypass the gangs and to access communities that had been deeply impacted by an earthquake in 2021. But perhaps the most rewarding work that I have done is in the Mediterranean migrant crisis. Non-government organisation, or NGO vessels, rescue thousands of migrants each year, while Europe and the rest of the world turn their back on this terrible humanitarian crisis. Nothing can prepare you for the sight of so many people crammed into these flimsy boats. And there is no doubt that unless these people are rescued, then their fate is to drown. It's an incredibly tough job, and the decisions that you make as captain or search and rescue coordinator literally determine whether people live or die. And as you can imagine, the sense of camaraderie on those ships is incredibly strong. And to know that in some small way you've made a difference and prevented these people from dying at sea is something that stays with you long after you leave the ship. So this is just really a snapshot of some of the opportunities that the wide blue yonder can offer you. And you can see there's really a lot of ways to make the most of a career at sea. And it's not all just hard work. This is an example of a swim stop in the middle of the Mediterranean. I'm not one of the fancy divers, but I am in the water below. And for me, the size of the vessel doesn't matter. Some of my happiest and most treasured moments at sea are on the Tassie coast in my kayak. Thank you very much.
And I'll probably ask my State Secretary, Mr John Short, to take the stand to close it out. Have a safe weekend, enjoy your careers, the rest of your education, make the most of it, young ladies. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, especially our parliamentarians, but all you young women. We are so very proud of what we do with the Fearless Festival. It's one of the highlights of our year as a union. And if it's the first time you've had any interaction with a trade union, we're not that scary. All we are is people trying to look after people, and especially women. In our workforce, sometimes that is difficult. Women find it difficult enough, especially in male-dominated industries. But we take a lot of time and a lot of pride in what we do for women in our industries. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we meet on today. Wherever I go in Australia, and I travel a lot, wherever we go, we are on Indigenous soil. And I'm going to nail my colours to the mast tonight, and I say yes. Thanks for being involved for the last couple of days. It's very exciting for us. I was down at the exhibits today, and it was great to see all the young women having that experience of different things that they could do, what they could do in their life, what they could do for work. And as I say, we are very proud. This is our 7th year doing the Fearless Festival. We missed a year because of COVID. But it's fantastic for us. And it's great to see so many young women, strong young women, and it's great to see our guest speakers. Weren't they wonderful tonight? The guest speakers were just fantastic. And especially our table host. We really love the way this happens, where our guest hosts are moving around the room, table by table, so as many young women can get experience from those people. It's fantastic. But this is not a night for blokes like me. It's for you. It's to give you an opportunity to listen to our guest speakers, have opportunities out there with the exhibits. There's so many people to thank for tonight. I've got to really thank the people from our union and our supporters, so especially Mick Wickham. Put your hands together for Mick Wickham. To be honest, I don't know how he does it. I really don't know how he does it. He's a hard-working trade union official, but he finds the time to organise events like this. It's fantastic. Also, I'd like to thank John Harris. Where's John? John's down the back there. He's been involved for many, many years and does a great job for us. Also, my colleagues from West Australia, as I say, they're over today, yesterday and today, to have a look to see what they can do in Perth, hopefully next year. To Susie, our admin person, Susie's over there on table 34. Put your hands together. Right. She does a fantastic job trying to bring everything together for helping Mick. Also, I'd like to thank Tim and Sam from our union, who have done a fantastic job over the last couple of days. I wanted to finish by saying one thing. I'm a bit of a soccer supporter. And I've never, ever been so excited about any game in this country as I am with the World Women's Soccer Club. I've never been so excited. In all honesty, I mean, you ask my wife, Anne, you know, I'm just over the top with it. It's just fantastic. And they love their game, and we love them. So go Matildas!
Thanks, Shorty. Yeah, I agree. Go the Tildas. And netball, women's netball. Woo! Rocking again too. We're just kicking goals everywhere. Look, I want to do one last thing really crazily. First of all, please, a huge thank you to our wonderful council staff that run the Perinatal Centre. Felicity and her team are incredible. Aaron down here, Linda's still here, Eloise. I can't see everybody else, but look, please pass on our thanks, girls. Thank you for still being here. Look, it's a well-oiled machine. I am just so proud of how well this function centre runs because of our amazing staff. And a little, I don't know if she's still in the room. Kate Hambleton's here. Kate, she's leaning on the bar like she owns it. She's an incredible young lady. She's been part of this event for quite a few years now. She now currently is based at Devonport High, and she brings the students here to work in the function centre. You are an absolute legend. I love you dearly. Thank you, Kate. And thank you to your girls, please. Again, thank you for being here for such a momentous occasion. One, for us having the biggest dinner ever in the function centre. Being here to support our young ladies and show them what's possible, to be part of Fearless, and I can't wait to see what happens next year. Thank you so much. Please travel home safe and have a wonderful time because you're all amazing, amazing. Thank you.